Hello, you're welcome to the Filum Show. I'm Mike. That's Brian. That's Dee. Just messing with Brian because he gives me crap every week about the similarity in my intros. You could learn a thing or two from me, Brian Lloyd, about consistency.
I didn't say anything. I literally said nothing. I didn't even open my mouth, and already you're on.
You opened your mouth with your eyes. He opened his mouth with his eyes, Dee. We both saw it. I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh Christ! Are we starting into this?
We're going straight for it. We're going straight for it.
Okay.
So Brian went over to London on Tuesday, as we're known to do, to interview some movie stars. The movie star in question was Paul Rudd. Now, we've busted Brian's balls a little bit. Well, I have. Do you like the interview? I've busted Brian's balls in the past about his interview with Paul Rudd for the first Ant-Man movie, which was like a really bad Tinder date. From my perspective, where half the date, 50% of the date, one person was afraid and just wanted the date to be over as soon as possible.
See, I got a totally different vibe. I thought Paul Rudd was really into it. That's the vibe I was getting.
Okay. Second interview. Paul Rudd looks like he feels like he should remember you because he feels threatened.
Okay, right.
So you then, Brian Lloyd, got Paul Rudd to give out to me.
I did.
Who was your boss at the time.
Okay, right. Now,
to name check me. Paul Rudd, Brian. Paul Rudd. You got Paul Rudd to give out to me.
Okay.
The nicest man on earth.
I did. Now, let's back this up for a second, okay? So, to put this in context.
I gave all the context.
I know, yeah, but I'm just saying, I brought it up in the sense of, I was like, oh, the last time I talked to you, I got a lot of trouble. My boss didn't like the interview kind of thing, and,
hang on a second, hang on. Charlotte, can you play that?
I got my ass handed to me about that interview.
Really?
My boss was not happy with that interview.
We should give him a message saying, hey, yeah. What's his name?
Mike Sheridan is his name.
All right, well, do we start it off with that?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Mike Sheridan, want you to know, your man here, not lying. We were talking about Barry White receiving guests, and
it just spiraled from there, like.
Okay. We've just seen the interaction.
Sure.
Now, can we show the hug?
But to be fair, I didn't know what he was doing.
I don't know if in that particular clip you saw it from each angle, but when Paul Rudd's going in, he's smiling, and Brian's like he's terrified. He has a thing about closeness.
I don't like,
even when it comes to Paul Rudd, apparently.
Yeah,
what's wrong with you? Who wouldn't want to hug show of hands, who would like to hug Paul Rudd?
I've been hugged by Paul
Producer Dave
Rudd.
also held his hand up.
Okay, right. Okay, right.
You're ungrateful is what you are.
No, it's not ungrateful. It was I didn't know what to do, and he pulled me in. I was like, oh god, is this happening? I was like,
what did he smell like?
He smelled lovely. I mean, it was I'll say that right now. He smelled lovely, like orange and jasmine, and just
like it was zesty.
Zesty,
yeah. A bit of citrusy
smell.
Citrusy vibe. Yeah, I can see Paul Rudd smelling a bit zesty.
Yeah,
citrusy.
It was lovely.
Not like Radox, like the expensive stuff.
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah. He wouldn't be surprised if he had his own scent, that kind of way, as in he had a purpose-made scent, Odeon for men or something. But I don't know. Yeah, I was very
which is kind of appropriate because Anchorman's movie we were talking about later.
Yeah,
I remember how he has what's it called?
Sex Panther.
Yes.
60 works 60% of the time every time. But I swear to God, I was going into that interview and it was going to be a professional interview. I had every intent and I was going to make it a good, he wrote the film and I was like, okay, I'm going to ask you about all this stuff, and it went out the window literally in the first minute. I was like, okay, well, I've lost.
Because what happens is with these setups is that it's a room and there's a film crew in the room, sound person, there's somebody time in the room. And generally speaking, the actor, director, or whoever is filmmaker sitting there, and you go over to them, you're like, hey, how's it going on? Blah, blah, blah. You're like the 20th person that day or whatever.
And you make a little bit of small talk.
Yeah. Paul Rudd is a very nice human being, I've interviewed him before as well, was standing up and he's to greet people, to be like, hey, how's it going on, Paul? He's awesome. So we hear, because the people in the room have started recording earlier, so we can hear the conversation. And you can hear Brian go, oh man, I got shit over the last time I was talking to you from my boss.
Because I said it to him, I said, oh, you're standing up again. And he was like, yeah? And I was like, sorry, just the last time.
He's like, yeah, I've stood a few times.
Yeah, I know, but I said it was like, oh, sorry, just the last time I did this interview, the last time I interviewed
Brian,
you.
admit it. When you went into that room, you
I
totally
wasn't.
intended to bring up the
I
last
swear
interview.
to God.
You did. Just own it. Own it.
Deirdre, I really didn't. I genuinely didn't. And this is it. I had.
As soon as you saw him stood up, you were like, that's my cue. I can use this because that's what he
It
did in
wasn't.
the last interview. Yes.
It wasn't. It genuinely
Making
wasn't.
it about you. Huh.
I swear to God, it wasn't. Because, like, look at the interview I did with Evangeline Lilly, the interview I did with Michael Douglas, and
You hadn't met them before.
I interviewed Michael Douglas for the last one. I interviewed Peyton Reed for the last one as well.
Yeah, but you hadn't
All
gone on a
professional.
date with him, like.
No, but I'm saying they were all professional. Like, they were all very professional. Like, but with Paul Rudd just threw me off because he was too nice. Paul Rudd is so nice, I can't be professional. That's the problem. It's his fault,
It's
not
his
mine.
fault.
Was it John Krasinski as well? Was so nice.
I cursed at him.
You cursed at the two of the nicest men in Hollywood. John Krasinski and Paul, like they're both notoriously nice people.
I know. I can't handle it.
Like it's so rare that nobody has a bad word to say about somebody in Hollywood who's that famous. Everybody's like, they're so lovely. Brian.
I can't handle it. I can't handle people being nice to me. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I can't, yeah.
When's your interview going up, Brian?
I think they're live now, I think. Or if not, they'll be going out next week, I think.
That's a fairly broad spectrum of
I
when.
don't know. I'm sorry. Like, I
It's
didn't
in
know.
like a week, maybe now. I don't know.
Like, I mean, I gave the cards in to be edited, and then I don't know. Like, ask Charlotte Reed, the brilliant Charlotte Reed, who puts together this show. She is an absolute trooper of a woman. Whenever she gets to it, I guess I don't know. I should have had this information.
She's a trooper. What's like?
She's plucky.
Yeah.
She's
Plucky,
plucky.
our new favorite word.
That was the word of the week
Yeah.
a few weeks ago. Actually, when the John Krasinski
last
movie, A Quiet Place, was out. Oh no, that was Thought.
Thought.
Let's talk about.
We've also had the dank.
the dank.
Oh, the
dank. dank memes, man. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Mamma Mia.
Deirdre, this is all you.
This is all you,
Yeah.
Dee. This is all you. Brian's waffled on enough there. Like,
Yeah.
now watch him look
Yeah.
disinterested. Well, it's not about him. Watch.
I'm not. I'm
Just pay attention, viewer.
I'm not. I'm getting
attention.
comfortable so I can hear what Deirdre's going to say. That's not being bored. I'm going to now give you my full attention. Hit it.
So, Deirdre,
So,
first film is one of the biggest box office hits ever.
yeah.
Um,
And little fun fact, the 4th highest grossing movie ever in the Irish box office.
That's a lot to do with
There you
ABBA,
go.
isn't it? Obviously.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
ABBA are still so popular here.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that there's like Meryl Streep and Pierce Brosnan and stuff in it. I suppose no, but I do think that part of the charm of the first film, I will say this for it, is that you had actors who weren't necessarily singers singing ABBA songs. And I think that what that actually did was it created this kind of communal, like, you know, if they can sing, I can sing along.
People
And there was
singing in
kind
the
of-
shower, but as a musical.
Yeah, it was kind of an everyman kind of thing, as opposed to, you know, there being that distance when, say, you go to, say, a Broadway show and the singers are so unbelievably talented that you're just like, okay, I'll never be like you.
Like
Whereas,
Patrick Wilson.
Like
Yeah.
Patrick Wilson.
Like Patrick
Exactly.
Wilson.
Like Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson. Legend show favourite.
but I think that kind of, I think that was part of the charm of the first one.
So do you think that, like, because like Pierce Brosnan had the absolute Mickey taken out of him for the first
Yeah.
film, do you think he thinks he's deadly? Like, do you think Pierce is like, yeah, like he's like air
I
grabbing?
I honestly don't think he cares. I think that he just really, really loves making these films, and I
Because
think
it's just
that's
fun and
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the vibe you get from Mamma Mia. Here we go again. That the cast, the returning cast, there's like Amanda Seyfried in there, Pierce Brosnan, Colin Firth, Christine Baranski, Julie Walters. I could go
love
on and
Christine
on.
Christine
Yeah.
Baranski.
She's
awesome.
fabulous. She's awesome. But they're all back, and you can just tell that they're so happy to be with one another again, to be like singing and dancing, even if it's just kind of stupid looking. Like they're just having the time of their lives, and there's an infectious sense of joy about that. And then when you go to the Donna flashback sequences with Lily James, who is incredible.
You're a big fan of Lily James.
Yeah, like if it hasn't already been established that she is a superstar, in this film she takes the reins from Meryl Streep. That is no easy task, and she is amazing in this film.
Is Meryl Streep plucky?
Meryl
Is
Streep,
she wearing overalls?
she is. Well, she kind of is. She's
Bouncing around the Greek
she's
islands?
basically in a very much diminished role in this, and I don't know if I can say why for fear of spoilers, but her role is much, much smaller in this. I mean, definitely your lead actresses here would be Amanda Seyfried and Lily James.
Can we talk about Cher for a minute?
Yeah.
You can talk about Cher anytime you want, Brian Lord.
I mean, if I could turn back time, hey,
I'd find a way.
You wouldn't want to turn back time because you like them older. So.
Yeah, he believes.
I wasn't even going there. Cher.
Yeah, but I felt like you were going to go there.
Anyway,
Sure as well. Sure. No, okay. No, go on.
anyways, Christine Baranski, if it was going to.
Oh.
But anyways,
Oh my
I loved her when she was
God.
in Sybil. Remember, she was like Dr. Dick.
Is it because her character is kind of a cougar? Is that it?
Christine
yeah.
Baranski's she's beautiful. She's
Yeah,
beautiful.
in fairness.
Yeah.
And she's an incredible performer as well. Like she can sing.
Yeah, she's
great.
Broadway and
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
like
totally.
Chicago and everything.
Yeah,
she's
and she was brilliant in like The Good Wife and The Good Fight. Like those are great TV shows. Why is Cher in it, basically?
So she plays Amanda Seyfried's character's grandmother or Donna's mother, in spite of there only being a 3-year age difference between her and Meryl Streep.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
that doesn't.
Yeah,
okay.
which is
she
kind
did
of
turn
funny.
back time.
I guess you
She
could
did
say.
find a way.
Yeah, but she is, oh my gosh, she's just so fabulous in this. I mean, when she sings, and I won't say what she sings just in case.
She
again,
sings
but-
Fernando or something, isn't it?
I thought that was a spoiler.
But no, she sings it in the trailer.
Oh, well, if she sings,
sings it in the
okay, it's
trailer.
fine. If it's in the trailer, it's fine. It's
thought,
fine.
yeah.
I didn't see that trailer.
did.
They released like 5
Yeah,
different
there was
trailers.
loads. There were like loads.
But oh my gosh, just everything just freezes, and everyone was like on Cher because she just has it. She's just such an incredible.
Anybody that's been that
superstar,
popular
you know?
for that long,
Yeah.
there's generally a very good reason why. They're incredibly
And I mean,
talented.
she is like such a scene stealer in this, but at the same time, like, you know, it is very well balanced between the characters. Like, everyone kind of gets their moment, and you get to see all your favorite characters and kind of the young version of all your favorite characters. And what's great with the young cast is that they're all very likable and they're great singers. So, unlike the first
So
film,
this is
where-
still a younger version of Brosnan, Skarsgård,
yeah,
and
exactly.
Colin Firth.
And I mean, particularly the young, I can't remember their names, but the young versions of Christine Baranski's and Julie Walters' characters, I think they both come from Broadway background,
Yeah, okay.
and they can sing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they're unbelievable. And I do think we'll be seeing more of those actresses in the future because they play young Christine Baranski and Julie Walters so well.
Julie
Like,
Walters
they're
is
hilarious.
amazing.
She is.
Oh, she's
Julie
brilliant.
Walters is just great and everything. Like,
Yeah, like I think, and I know this. I mean, I know most people would know her from loads of other stuff, but the performance she gave throughout the whole Harry Potter series
Yeah, amazing.
was
yeah.
so good. Like,
And
I
that
mean,
emotional finale, what happens in the last film, oh my gosh, your heart just goes out for her. It's amazing.
nah, you lost me at Harry Potter.
I know, but see, this is
No, but
it.
she is amazing in the series.
I know. You see, this is it. You'd be like, but like, I mean, she is the best in that entire series. She's the best actor. I think she like is so.
Really?
I think so.
But you have
Ray
like Alan
Fiennes,
Rickman,
Alan
Kenneth
Rickman.
Branagh.
Brendan Gleeson, Robbie
I'm telling you,
Coltrane,
she gives it the.
Daniel Radcliffe. Ha! Only joking.
But I know, but genuinely, like, you go back and watch those films. She is the one I think that is the most authentic and real. Like she gives the most real performance in. them.
Like she's in a Mike Lee movie or something. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, the only other person who I could say kind of is on her same level is your one who played
Rupert Grime.
No. Your one who played Umbridge. What was her name?
I forget her
Staunton?
name.
Imelda
Imelda
Staunton.
Staunton?
No, was it Imelda Staunton? I don't know who. it
You
was.
have an iPad in front
Oh,
of you,
yes, sorry, yeah,
IMDb
it was Imelda
open.
Staunton.
I
sorry.
do think it's Imelda Staunton.
Yeah, it was. It was Imelda Staunton.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me get this up there. Hang on.
Brian,
Give me a second.
Brian's like my dad
Imelda
trying
Staunton.
to. You're like my dad trying to turn on Sky. How does?
What?
What the
AV? What? No, Imelda Staunton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imelda
Can I get the Netflix on the Sky? How does that work?
But
you dug this a lot. Do you give it 4 stars?
I loved it. And I'm not giving it 4 stars because it's a great movie. Because look, it does what it says on the
It's a
tin.
4-star experience.
It's it's cheesy, it's predictable, but oh my gosh, I felt so happy coming out of that movie.
You
Like,
went to the Irish premiere, so it was like they had
No. I
it
went
was
to the
not.
press
Oh, I went to
screening.
press screening. Oh,
But
okay.
but
Because
I
the
was
premiere looked
surprised-
like great fun.
Yeah,
They had the music and stuff.
But everyone who came out of that screening was smiling. Like even like I was talking to some of the guys before, and they were like, "Yeah, not gone on the first Mamma Mia," which I wasn't myself. But like I came in here and I sat down. You can ask Fiona Flynn and David O'Shaughnessy that I sat down and I said, "Well, that film just broke my cold, critical heart."
What did you call Dave? Dave O'Shaughnessy.
She said Shaughnessy. You
Shaughnessy.
said Shaughnessy.
Did I?
It's Shaughnessy.
Oh, whoops.
Have you been saying it wrong for years and you didn't realize
I
it?
never said his surname, I suppose, to him.
Why didn't we tell him about that? I got to tell him about this afterwards. He's gonna-
Rat her out.
What do you mean rat her out?
Snitch.
Yeah, and it's funny as well because Dave O'Shaughnessy was at the Irish premiere.
Like
that.
So what? I just want to
He's
simplify
at the
the
Irish premiere with
pronunciation.
sitcom friends.
Yeah, with his sitcom pals, and he said it was like it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like watching the whole film.
Everybody's
with
singing along and
and he said like even when Pierce Brosnan started singing, the whole audience broke their whole laughing. But like, but not in a, but like,
poor Pierce Brosnan.
but not in a mean way. But in
He
the sense
has a
of like
very
They were
small
laughing with
song
him.
in this. It's a
Laughing
very
with.
small song.
yeah, laughing with him, I guess. So yeah,
Was it Meryl Streep that said she thought Pierce Brosnan sounded like Bryan Adams when the first one came out? I could be wrong there. But I was like, are you
sound
sure
right.
about that, Meryl?
Brian Adams.
Are you
or
sure about that
Rhino?
now?
Wait, Brian Adams. or
Bryan
Rhino?
Adams, yeah.
Can't you pronounce anything, Brian?
Yeah.
Wait, but there's two. There's Brian Adams.
I
who's-
know that, Brian. Bryan Adams.
Okay, right, Grant. I thought she meant like Ryan Adams, the singer-songwriter guy who did like the Taylor Swift album. No?
I don't know.
That's a bit of trivia on Taylor Swift. You didn't know you had in the locker.
No, Ryan Adams. The
I know who Ryan Adams is.
and he did this album that was a cover of Taylor Swift songs.
Oh, okay.
Do you not know this?
No. but
Okay, well,
no.
yeah, okay, right. Well, there was an album. He did this whole album. That was. Why are we talking about this?
You're the one who's talking
I know-
about it.
I know,
Dave,
why
can
am
you
I
just start?
talking
Can you
about
just
it?
get off your phone and lower down, Brian? Get off your phone and lower down, Brian.
Sorry. Just
Mute him. Mute him.
Gone off it. Gone
Shut
off
up, Brian. Anyway, Brian, what did you think of Hotel Artemis?
We have an interview. Well, Dee did an interview with Drew Pearce, who is the writer-director of Hotel Artemis. That'll be on the line.
On the line.
On the line. This film is being, I feel, and you talked about this in the interview, it's kind of being marketed as an action thriller, and it's not that at all.
Well, Dee, I think remember when you were going to see it and you hadn't seen it, Dee, you were
Yeah.
kind of saying, I think
John
you just saw
Wick.
the trailer, you were like, it's like John Wick.
Yeah.
It's, the hotel in John Wick.
And I asked him about that, and he was like, I was like, well, is that okay that it's being compared to John Wick? And he was like, I'm delighted it's being compared to John Wick. It's not, because it doesn't, like Brian said, it's not really
You
an
wish,
action film.
Drew.
But he did say that he found it very complimentary because he loves John Wick. And I was like, well, that's great because me and the guys love John Wick.
Yeah. But, like, it's not, you see, that's it. Like, it's not really an action film at all. It's more like a kind of like a crime thriller. I
Cracking
Yeah.
cast.
Yeah, brilliant cast. Like you have Charlie Day, Sterling K. Brown, who's an incredible actor. Dave Bautista, Jodie Foster, brilliant in this. But when is she never
Jeff Goldblum.
not? Jeff Goldblum turns up in it. Zachary Quinto's in it. So like it has this real
Who's your
ensemble.
one from Kingsman that's in the trailer? Or
Sophia Botella.
Sophia Batella.
Yeah, she's in it as well. But it's really like Sterling K. Brown is kind of, I would guess you would call him the lead, but he's not really the lead. But it's an ensemble cast. And essentially what's going on is it's like what Dee said. It's
Continental and John Wick.
Continental, yeah. It's essentially a hospital for criminals. It's set in 2048.
2028.
2028, apologies.
Sorry, I was talking about it earlier. So
Yeah, I
I
know,
remember.
I
Don't apologise for getting something right when Brian gets something wrong.
Anyways, Sterling
Los Angeles.
in Los Angeles, yeah, and there's riots going on. Do you want to just do the plot? Like, I mean, you're talking over me, dear.
No, I was helping.
She's
Okay,
helping.
sorry,
She's getting
I
it
know,
right.
sorry,
She's getting
sorry,
it right.
yeah. But yeah, so there's riots going on in the city because like there's water shortages and what have you, and they're basically holed up in the hotel, and then it's just like if I had to compare it to something. I know this is not an apt comparison, but if I was to compare it to something, it would be like Assault on Precinct 13.
That's an
Yeah,
interesting
yeah, a
comparison.
bit like
yeah.
that,
In the sense of, you know, it's trapped into one place. They're trying to keep people out, but people come in. And then when people come in, it's sort of like, okay, well, why are you here kind of thing.
You're trying to figure out people's motives.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And
And there are kind of different relationships between the characters who are
Who are
already,
already
in
there,
yeah.
and there's kind of, tension building and conflict is becoming kind of inevitable. So
Yeah.
How did he get Jodie Foster to make this? Because she's fierce fussy about what she appears in as an actor.
Well, we actually talked about it in the interview also. It was a great interview. But he basically said that he has no idea how, but Jodie Foster managed to get her hands on the script. And apparently she still won't tell him how, but she got her hands on the script and she got in contact with him and said, look, I'd really love to get involved in this if you'll have me. And he was like, you're Jodie Foster, so obviously we'd love to have you. And yeah, I think that she's brilliant
She
in
did,
this.
yeah, brilliant.
Like the nurse feels like it is tailor-made
For her.
She's so good in
Really?
this.
She
Yeah.
just
And-
she makes it her own.
yeah, exactly. And she plays the nurse in it who essentially runs the hotel. And her assistant is Dave Bautista, who plays a character called Everest. And the two on screen together,
dynamic.
they just have a great dynamic, great great chemistry. They even look like brilliant together, just little her and massive
I feel like
him. It's
Jodie
brilliant.
Foster's not enough part of that conversation about the best actor, and it's always like Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I don't feel like Jodie Foster. Maybe it's because she's worked with less consistency than Meryl Streep, or she doesn't,
Or
fart in the
'cause-
bath and film it and get nominated
Yeah.
for an Oscar.
Or
Yeah.
maybe it's because the films that she gets involved with are just few and far between. Like
Yeah.
Meryl Streep seems to always
Yeah.
have a movie out,
Yeah.
pretty much every year. And Jodie Foster, like you said, is a little more kind of selective of what she
And
gets
to be
involved in.
fair as well, Jodie Foster's getting into directing in a big way. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, she
that's
did Money Monster with George
That
Clooney.
wasn't great at all now.
I liked that. I thought that was all right. I thought that had a real kind of Sydney. No, genuine. I thought that had a real kind of Sydney Lumet network buzz.
She was going for that.
Yeah.
Certainly. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think it could have been something and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I think you get George Clooney and Julia Roberts to do a movie together again, and you're like, oh, and then you watch it and you're like, meh, they just did it because it was Jodie Foster.
Yeah, there's an
Jack O'Connell was great in it.
Yeah, Jack O'Connell was brilliant in it as well.
You interviewed him for that.
I
didn't you?
interviewed Jodie Foster for it as well, like, and she was really interesting. No, but like, it's funny because you're absolutely right. I think if she was being more, if she had more consistency in her work, you're absolutely right. We'd be talking about her the same way we talk about Meryl Streep insofar as it's like, oh, she's one of the greatest actors ever lived. But because she's really selective, I think that's what kind of almost is playing against her, But then again, like, I mean,
She's never been one to just take the money
No.
and to cash in, because she turned down Clarice Sterling for Hannibal.
yeah,
After the first Silence of the Lambs made so much money.
yeah,
Yeah.
She didn't want to do it. Said no. Julianne Moore came in. And it was obviously, made a lot of money, but nowhere near
what the first one did.
nowhere near what the first one was. So
Um,
she's obviously got a,
Integrity.
strong integrity there. She wanted to do something for the sake because she thought it was too violent.
Yeah, and it's funny because like when I was watching Hotel Artemis, the thing that kind of struck me about this was that had it like it's very unlike films you see nowadays. Like, it really does feel like a film from the 70s insofar as is that it's very
It kind of feels like a film that's already become a classic or something.
Yeah. Like, it's the kind of thing that like you would totally imagine this being in the 70s, and like it has a real 70s feel to it, in that it's very dialogue driven.
Kind of the sci-fi aspect.
The sci-fi aspect of
yeah.
it, but it's kind of in the background. But there's a film familiarity with it. There's
It's like 10
very
years from now, so
stylized,
it's kind of close enough to
Exactly,
to be realistic.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of grit to it as well. Like, I mean, when the action does kick off, it's done very well.
But it is not an action movie.
No, not at all. Like, don't go into this expecting action.
There is action in the third act. And fun fact, Sophia Boutella worked with the same stunt coordinator as she did on Atomic Blonde for her sequence.
Ooh,
there you
I
go.
forgot she was in Atomic Blonde.
Yeah,
that's right.
She's a French agent. In
Yeah,
Atomic
that's right.
Blonde.
Yeah. Speaking of John Wick, and I know we're going off course now, but I don't care because we've mentioned John Wick, so now I'm going to say it. Has everyone seen the on-screen the footage of Keanu Reeves on a horse riding it through New York?
I saw the photo.
There's a video of it.
Oh,
I saw that Dee liked
I
the
haven't
photo,
seen
and then I liked the photo that Dee liked.
And then I liked the photo that he liked
liked
and that
it.
you liked.
Yeah.
And then there was a video, and I need to show it to you because it's so amazing. It's just like Keanu Reeves running through New York on the back of a horse.
Amazing.
It's Jesus. Like, I seen it, I was like, oh my God.
If you're thinking, what's been missing from the first two John Wick films?
A horse.
Keanu Reeves on a horse in Manhattan shooting some lads.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Like, I think of True Lies. Do you remember in True Lies?
Yeah.
My horse is getting tired. Like, come on, like, that's just, oh, Jesus.
Speaking of John Wick, I interviewed Chris McQuarrie for the new Mission Impossible, and we're going to be revisiting Way of the Gun, which is Chris McQuarrie's first film, next week. I got to talk to Chris. I mentioned we were going to revisit it on the show, and he was delighted. He was kind of delighted to talk about it.
Nice.
But one of the things we spoke about was in Way of the Gun. I know you're going to watch it, so I don't want to ruin it for you, but we talked a lot about it, and that opening is just superb as well.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see what you think of it. Cool. But he did it to piss the studio off, basically. Chris McQuarrie told me that. But something that he did was his brother, I think, is military training. So he used his brother or like a Navy SEAL or something like that. I don't know. He's special ops or something like that. So the whole gun angle to it and how they stand and how they cover each other is all very, very authentic.
Wow.
And I said, it's like, he goes, there's not many movies that do it. And I was like, the John Wick movies kind of doing it. And he goes, oh, those guys, you know, you get the admiration
Yeah.
from Chris McQuarrie. He won an Oscar for The Usual Suspects to be like, well,
Yeah.
you know, those lads, like,
Yeah.
they take it to the next level. So I just think it's amazing the goodwill
Yeah.
That these, I mean, what was ultimately when it first came out was people thought it was going to be a B
Yeah,
action
B-movie,
movie,
yeah.
to being this like,
Paragon.
Like,
Like,
really?
a paragon.
Yeah.
Like you see the poster for it and it's just him and there's that kind of blue background. And I still remember when myself and my boyfriend Ivan went to it and we came out and we were like, what the heck just happened? Because that's what we expected. It would just be, it's an kind of action movie, especially following on from whatchamacallit, 47 Ronin.
Yeah, which is muck.
Yeah,
Muck.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then we came out of it and we were like, that was one of the best movies we've seen in a long time.
And I remember because you saw it in New York, wasn't it?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And then you came home and you wrote the review, and then like you were said to me like, look, listen, will you just go watch John Wick because I gave it 5 stars and like. I don't know if I should. I really, really liked it, but I need a second opinion on this. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll watch it. And then I was like, yep, no, 5 stars. I mean, yeah, 5 stars.
I was in New York years ago, and I was really sick. I was in bed for I was there for 5 days. I was in bed for 3 days. I was had a really bad flu and a fever, and waiting on a flight, went to see John Wick in a theater in New York, and I told Keanu Reeves this. I was like, be nice to me, Keanu Reeves. Here's my John Wick story.
Yeah, so you're giving me shit about like fucking Paul Regan.
Yeah. But at the same time, Brian, I didn't get Keanu Reeves to call you out. So not the same thing.
But like, you would
But anyway,
imagine Keanu Reeves calling
I was
you out,
sick, and I was like, this is so good. Oh my god! And then afterwards, I was like, oh, I'm still really sick. And then I didn't come out for a few months later. And I was like, oh God, was it as good as I remember, or did I just have a fever? And yes, it was as good as I remembered.
Yes, it was.
As was the second one.
Yes.
As was John Wick 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for the reviews this week. Dee Malumbi, hit me up with some movie news. There's a whole heap of trailers this week, Deirdre.
Yes, I love trailers, so I'm doing all trailer news because I feel like it.
Deirdre,
Basically.
you do you.
I will do me. Okay, so
I didn't say anything.
I could hear the pregnant pause. I could hear it. I could hear the cogs
Could you
in
just
his
hear
mind.
Brian's eyelid just go like? Don't say anything.
I didn't say anything.
You can take her up a human resources.
Oh
afterwards.
my
have
God.
to.
I didn't say anything. I said nothing. Okay. Do the thing. I'm
stop
done.
talking.
I'm done. I'm being professional.
Okay,
Go.
so earlier this week we had the trailer drop for On the Basis of Sex, which Felicity Jones stars in and is getting a lot of Oscar hype. Maybe this will finally be the time when she wins her Oscar, because she's been previously nominated now for on the theory. No,
Theory
the
of
theory
Everything.
of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, in this film, she plays Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and Armie Hammer plays her husband. And it follows one of the lawyer's earliest cases, Weinberger versus Weisenfeld. And I'm really sorry if I've made a bollocks out of pronouncing that. But anyway,
Hey,
is
for
that
effort.
a curse word?
No, I don't think it is.
I think it's grand.
Bollocks is like a PG-13 curse.
Yeah, you can get away with it.
It's
Yeah.
grand.
Do you know, like in PG-13 films, you're allowed one F-bomb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Like this podcast.
I got one in. I
Yeah.
used the one
Well,
this week.
PG-13.
Yeah.
Yeah, but did you guys get a chance to see the trailer?
I did.
What do you think? Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, I have the story of Ruth Bader Ginsburg is really interesting. I feel like this is one of those TV movies that you would watch about
Who
it.
directed this?
It is Mimi Leder.
Oh,
Leder?
Deep Impact.
Deep Impact. She worked in ER for years.
Yeah.
Leftovers, Shameless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's a TV director, which kind of
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah,
says a lot.
I'm totally with you on this. Like, I didn't make it to the end of the trailer because you've dropped 3 trailers for Story, so we can watch them all, and it was by far my least favorite.
Yeah.
But Ruth Bader Ginsburg is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I hope it's good. And
Yeah.
I'm sure Felicity Jones is amazing in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Armie Hammer can just shut up, Armie Hammer. Like, I just get I feel like Armie Hammer strategically picking his films over some sort of social conscience or something like that.
You think?
But just to be perceived that way.
Yeah.
I don't know why he annoys me so much.
Is it because he's so good looking?
No, I don't. Like, I interviewed Henry Cavill last week.
Yeah.
Distractingly good looking, that man.
Yeah.
Distractingly good looking. He walked past me in the hall. I was like, Jesus, there's Superman. Stop staring. Stop staring. So anyway, yeah.
I was talking to somebody about Henry Cavill. It's like, is it gay to want to have sex with him? Like, and I was like, I mean, it's the kind of thing like he's that good looking. You're just like, it's Henry Cavill. He's like literally a Greek god. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the dude looks like a Greek god. Don't look at me like that. He looks like a Greek god. Okay.
I was looking at you for what you said like a
Just
second
saying.
ago.
What did you think of it, Dee?
I liked it. Yeah, I thought it looked good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm intrigued. I hope that I'm hoping that maybe the trailer doesn't kind of give it justice.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you like the cast, you know, you
Yeah.
like the story. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a huge.
And Felicity Jones is doing a decent Brooklyn accent.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
because
to be fair.
she was getting a bit of guff, is that the right word, on Twitter, people being like, oh, British actress cast as an American, and it's like they do the vice versa all the time. It's fine.
Did you hear many Americans doing English accents though?
Not as much, but I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's because Americans don't go to the UK to work, you know.
Fair point,
You know,
yeah.
British actors have to go over to America
Yeah,
to work, I
that's true.
suppose. So it's just probably just a volume thing. I hope it's good. I think it's an amazing story.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I
she's
want it to
amazing,
be good.
So I want it
Yeah.
to be good.
Yeah.
Okay, what else have you got, Dee?
This one, I think that you guys probably preferred the look at. The trailer for Boy Erased, which stars Lucas Hedges. He would have been in Lady Bird last year. He also got an Oscar nomination for his role in Manchester by the Sea, heartbreaking movie. And this one looks like a heartbreaker too. Nicole Kidman, Russell Crowe also star, and it's directed by Joel Edgerton.
Ooh.
So yeah.
Can I just say, Manchester by the Sea was like being emotionally kicked in the balls for 2 hours. No, thank you. Great acting, incredible performances. And I do remember, Dee, it was your first Junket, so it holds a special place in your heart.
I know.
And Casey Affleck, incredible. Like, just a great film, right? But I'd never want to see it again.
Yeah.
It was too much.
In fairness, that whole, the way you put it, emotional being kicked in the balls, was how I felt seeing like $1 Million Baby.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
it was almost like when it's too sad, I almost like just disconnect from it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I actually can't like feel like I just amn't enjoying this
But it was,
anymore.
it was
you know?
just so much. It was like, holy shit, Ken Lonergan, chill out. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well,
everybody stop dying, and this is, ugh.
I'll tell you right now, if you can't handle that, don't go see First Reformed. I went to see First Reformed last Friday.
Oh yeah, the new Ethan Hawke one.
Oh, that's a Paul Schrader one.
Yeah. No, like it's
I will say, though, I love this trailer, Dee.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. And I see
Yeah.
Joel Edgerton pop up, and I'm like, I love Joel Edgerton. And I see that he directed it, I'm like, he's a really good director.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
his brother. Oh.
Hey.
But The Gift was a movie he made for Blumhouse.
you
Yeah,
love that.
this
film.
is
I love that
this
movie.
is only his second feature
As a
since The
director.
Gift. Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting. Like, I mean, is he going to just shift to directing full time?
He's produced Robert Zemeckis' new movie as well with Steve Carell. He's a producer on that.
the Battle of the Welcome to Marwan thing.
Yeah, he produced on that.
And you have to remember he's starred in both of the films he's directed so far, so we might just keep doing that and stay in kind of
Like
a
Ben
more
Affleck it up.
supporting role.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, or Clint Eastwood, or
But
any
he
of them.
looks
Yeah.
like he's got a smaller role in this one, Dee. So the story of this one is about conversion therapy, right?
Yeah. About this boy who's basically told that he has to go to therapy, otherwise he's just going to be exiled and shunned by his family, friends, and faith. So it's tough, and I mean, it looks really, really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it's definitely going to be a tearjerker,
got
and that
me. It got me.
doesn't look like it's good. It doesn't look well. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but it doesn't. It doesn't really have promise that everything's going to be okay and his family is going to realize that that this is wrong and stuff. So it's pretty.
Because it's based on a true story.
visceral. Yeah, it is. It's based on a memoir, which I forget the author's name of, but yeah, it's based on a true story.
Chloe Moretz actually has a film that's coming out that was in Sundance. That thing, The Miseducation at Cameron Post. There was a trailer for that last
Oh,
week,
yeah,
and it's a
that looks
similar,
great
yeah,
too, yeah.
and it's a similar buzz as well. It's all about like gay conversion therapy and how it doesn't work. And
I think, did it win an award at Sundance?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. It won the
Yeah.
audience award. Yeah, it
Yeah.
won the audience award.
That's
So
just, those movies are generally great. The ones
Yeah.
that win the audience
Yeah.
awards are. They always do quite well at the box office as well.
Yeah.
So they might just be taking their time releasing that, because Sundance was January.
yeah,
Yeah.
so like it's way off. in
But
the
we are
distance.
and I know the third movie you're going to talk about would really Oscar
Yeah.
worthy, or
No.
wouldn't appear to be, at least a
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams movie that he produced. But we're seeing those Oscar trailers start to creep out now, aren't we?
Oh, sure. And I mean, another one that would have dropped kind of over kind of late last week was like Colette. And I think that's kind of Keira Knightley going for the Best Actress Oscar. That looks really great too. So I suppose it's because, we're right in the heart, if not approaching the end of summer blockbuster season now. So there's no point in dropping, the trailers for the summer blockbusters. So it just makes sense that the next season to get kind of everyone hyped about and going to the cinema about is Oscar season. So I'd imagine that's why we're seeing those trailers now. And I'd imagine we'll see even more in the coming weeks.
And we have Comic-Con this weekend as well.
Yeah, there's going to be the first trailer for Aquaman. There's going to be the first trailer for. Oh Christ, what was it? I forgot. But Aquaman is the big one.
Some other nerd movie that nerds like.
But Aquaman is the big one. That's the one that everyone's interested in, because like you've got James Wan directing it. Our pal, Patrick
Glass.
Wilson. Glass, yes,
Glass.
Glass. That
Glass,
was it.
glass. I'm actually excited to see that.
It's going to be class.
I still have to see Unbreakable and.
Oh, you haven't seen Breakaway. We
and
revisit it before we
whatchamacallit,
review
Split.
Glass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, the two of them are the big kind of trailers to watch out
I'm
for.
more excited to see what Conan O'Brien does at Comic Con. He's
always good, isn't he?
Comic Con stuff
Yeah.
is always amazing.
Yeah.
The remote stuff that he produces. Okay, the Overlord.
Yeah, I don't even have a summary for this. It's J.J. Abrams produced. It's a World War II horror, and it looks pretty bonkers. And I don't know if it's gonna work.
Yeah, because like typically, right, when you have World War II movies and you kind of splash them together with a different genre, like a horror or
Yeah.
The Michael
a
Mann movie, The
Western.
Keep.
Exactly, yeah. I was going to say like Dead Snow or The Keep
Or Inglourious Bastards.
Inglourious
or
Bastards,
something,
and that
yeah.
was like, you know, Western iconography and blah. They're usually kind of taking the mick out of it, you know, that sort of way, with the exception of The Keep. Like Dead Snow was really tongue in cheek. Iron Sky, remember that one? Really tongue in cheek.
With Northern Sky lose a fortune.
Yeah, it was. There was a whole thing. Overlord though kind of looks like it's actually doing something. It's weird because like they have AC/DC in the trailer, and then like the way that it seems to be shot seems to be done in a very not clever way, but like
Quite comic booky.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like
It
okay,
feels almost like a computer game.
yeah, that's
Even
exactly.
Even the title feels quite.
Yeah, like and like there's for anyone who plays Call of Duty, there's a multiplayer setting in it called Zombies where you're just shooting. Yeah, you know, but you play Call of
The
Duty. right?
Nazi zombies.
Yeah,
isn't
Nazi
it?
zombies. Yeah. So it's pretty well worn trope. There's not a really well known cast. I mean, I'd say the most well known person in it is probably Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks like a bit of crack. Like I was watching it, like, yeah.
Who
I'd
directed
watch-
it?
A guy called Julian Avery. Like he's only had one film. He did this film called Son of a Gun with Ewan McGregor. It got a really, really small release.
So people thought that this was going to be part of the Cloverfield universe.
Yeah, people are still kind of
But
suspicious
after the
of
Cloverfield
that.
paradox, everybody's like, oh.
Maybe
You're going to be
don't
attached to that
tie-
stank.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I doubt it. But I mean, it's weird. Like, is it? Are they like zombies in it or something?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
It's a bit like the Thing. There's an element, seems to be an element of the Thing.
Yeah,
too.
that's what I'm saying. Like the whole time I was watching, I was like, oh, that's a reference to that, and that feels like a reference. Like
It's a nerd's dream, Brian.
exactly, it's the kind of thing you're like, yeah, I'll totally watch that. That'd be grass crack. Like I mean, like, and the fact that they're releasing it at 25th of October, I think is the release date for it. That's perfect timing.
It's
for
right
it.
around. It's right around when the Halloween remake is coming out, though. Oh yeah. I don't know about that now.
I'll be prioritizing that now.
No, well,
me
like
too.
no, the Halloween thing is 19th of October, and Overlord is the 25th, so it's the week after. So
Yeah, but
You can't tell us what's out next week, but go to October and Brian can give us exact dates, right?
I do know what's out next week.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Halloween.
I checked.
You know, the fact that it's out the week before as opposed to
Yeah.
the week after, like,
Yeah.
it still might kind of. Be
Oh yeah,
its
it'll have
own run
legs.
and
Yeah, of
everything.
course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm expecting the Halloween remake to make a.
Yeah, that's going to do very well.
Yeah.
I'm
really
looking
is.
forward to that.
I just
really
hope
am.
it's not bad.
I
I
don't
hope
think it
it's
will
really
be.
good.
I don't think it will be. I think Danny McBride and David Gordon Green had a very unique take on it. I think to bring Jamie Lee Curtis back in the way that they're bringing her back. Everything about it is for me is kind of screaming.
Yeah.
This is going to be quality. And I loved Stronger. Stronger was one of the most underrated movies of last year. David Gordon Green directed about the Boston bombing, about a man that lost both his legs. Jake Gyllenhaal played the lead role in it. Jake Gyllenhaal's just never going to get his dues, I don't think.
You don't think?
Well, he's so good in that. Like, he is incredible in Stronger. And there's not a sniff of an Oscar for him. Not a sniff of an Oscar nomination for him. I know he was nominated for Brokeback Mountain, but even then,
That was a
Nightcrawler.
while ago. That
Yeah.
was like, what,
Was it-
13 years
No,
ago?
and
or
Nightcrawler is
something?
one of those that's
He
seen
should have
as
been.
yeah. Nightcrawler is seen as an absolute massive oversight by the Academy.
Yeah.
But I think it was just a couple of years before they started really including diverse people in the voting, or more diversity in the voting pool. So maybe a younger Academy would have voted that one in.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
Best Picture this year, Woman That Shagged a Fish. So it's getting a bit.
It's
You
not
have
a
a
fish.
lot of resent about that.
I do.
But like, would you have rather? You weren't mad about Three Billboards either, so it was between those two. So you wouldn't have been happy either
Shouldn't have
way.
been between those two, though. Shouldn't have been between
But
those
it
two.
was.
I know.
It's just like the election, like the U.S. election. It was between Hillary and Donald Trump, and it's like, which do you want? And it's like, well, you can have a fish, or you can have, So yeah, I don't know. I still stand by it. I thought Shape of Water was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have loved to see, obviously, Lady Bird, like I've said many times
true.
before, was my absolute favourite, but definitely Shape of Water, I'm happy with that win.
I thought Tanya should have won out of those. But sure, look, what do I know?
Tanya, but
What do I know?
But the CGI ice skating is so
I didn't think it was that bad.
crap-looking.
I saw it. I didn't think it was that bad.
I've seen real skating.
Oh, well,
looks-
bully for you, Deirdre. Bully for you.
It looks crap. Sorry. I love the movie besides that.
Just not real, man. Just not real.
No, it's not real. It's not
Okay, Brian Lloyd. In the greatest tradition of the revisit, she came up with this one 5 minutes before.
10 minutes.
10 minutes,
Give me
sorry.
some credit.
Before
Give me
we
some
went to do
credit.
this. Now, next week, because we've got the Chris McQuarrie
Yes.
segment talking about Way of the Gun, we're all going to rewatch Way of the Gun. Well, he hasn't seen it. We're going to watch it and talk about it in details. So, wing this one, Brian.
Anchorman. Because of the Paul Rudd fiasco and what have you.
I like that you're admitting that it's a fiasco.
Oh no, God! Like I mean, before we get into the revisit with Anchorman, I really want to stress this. Like I had every
He's
intention.
exasperated, sorry. He's
I really had every intention of conducting a professional interview with Paul Rudd. It just got away from me. All right.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I
I
did.
don't believe you did.
I really did. I really did. But anyways, Anchorman. I love
He
Anchorman.
hugged you. I mean,
like he was.
And you looked terrified
I
while he
was
was
terrified.
doing so.
If
you
Paul
should
Rudd-
I told you should have hung on for like 2 seconds longer and then be like, hold me, Paul.
just a little, just
I
like
love you. And you should have went, I love you, man.
yeah.
Love it.
Do your gun thing that you did on Midday Minute.
Minute, my
Yeah.
goodbye guns, although I robbed off from Paul Newman. Anchorman, right. Directed by Adam McKay, who, to be honest, I think he's kind of just chucked the whole comedy thing,
Well,
hasn't he?
one of the best interviews you've ever done or I've ever seen on the site is your interview with Adam McKay. I love that interview with Adam McKay.
Thank you.
Is that the one where they curse all through it? or
Yeah, Brian
something?
got given out. Well, no, I think what happened was because it was a podcast. You were doing it
Yeah.
for the Insider podcast. So
Yeah.
it was a long form. It was like
R.I.P.
Yeah, it was like a 15, 20 minute break.
What?
The Insider. No, it was. I mean, it was a very good podcast.
Yeah.
You did it for a while there.
R.I.P.
And Brian interviewed Adam McKay. So you have for like 15, 20 minutes.
God, it was longer. I think
Yeah, and it was for the Big Short.
The Big Short, yeah. And I loved The Big Short.
Well, I think the issue was that not that you were using foul language, Brian, but that then Adam was like, "Oh, we can use foul language," and Adam McKay started using foul
yes,
language.
and then he cursed a lot.
Yeah, and it's a great chat because like anything, it's like, oh, this is an actual conversation. I'm not just.
There was a back and forth. with it.
Directors are always great, generally.
Exactly, and like what I would say about Adam McKay is that he has really deep knowledge of film. Like he has a really deep, intuitive knowledge of film, and when you watch Anchorman with that in mind, you can tell that he's really smart about it. Because like one of the films that he was immediately inspired by with Anchorman, the first one, was The Terror in Inferno. Believe it or not. Because he was like, if you watch The Terror in Inferno back, the opening scene with Steve McQueen goes into the building and your one's lying on the bed, that's total Ron Burgundy. Like, that's just from the start. And even when you watch Anchorman, like, the this is hilarious, like, but the cinematography of it looks like it's a film from the 70s. It's that real
Yeah.
kind of like...
Or a TV show or
Or a
something.
TV show from the
yeah.
70s, like $6 Million Man, that it's got that real kind of glow to it. Like, everything's really sharp and, it looks gorgeous, like, for a comedy film, like. But like my favorite of and the other thing, the big fight sequence when they fight, like that's from Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
That's robbed straight out of Gangs of New York. I love that fight sequence, and my favorite part of that entire sequence is Tim Robbins opening up when Tim Robbins comes in with the thing, and he's like, "Well, looks like we've got ourselves a bilingual bloodbath." And then the bit at the end when he throws his sword away and he's running like this, and he's just...
I like when Brick killed the guy.
Yeah, oh yeah, when he with the
spear.
trident, yeah, when he just like, and that was like robbed from Planet of the Apes, like the bit with the horses, when they're pulling the guy away in the net. That's from Planet of the Apes.
I remember going to see that in Toronto. I was in Toronto for summer years ago as a student, and we didn't get the Daily Show over here, but Steve Carell was in the Daily Show at the time.
Yeah.
And had this real obsessive following. Because whenever Brick was on screen in Anchorman, the audience was like, "Yeah, there he is," and I was like, "Who's this guy?"
Huh.
Like he was one of those guys whose talent, was evident from very early on.
Was he on the US office by that stage? I don't think.
No,
so.
he wasn't.
No, he
I
wasn't,
think
no.
he did. It was soon after I think the US office
Yeah.
happened, and that's obviously what that and the 4-year-old version is what propelled
Yeah.
him to
Yeah, for
who he
sure.
is now.
But I think like in a lot of ways, I feel like the Anchorman is kind of like it's like The Simpsons insofar as is that it's become such a kind of touchstone for people in terms of popular culture. Like, isn't it? You always see those memes on Facebook where it's something from Anchorman and like just a bit of white text or something. Like
Yeah.
that. It looks so stupid.
Some dank memes.
Yeah, and it just like kind of cheapens it a bit. But like if you go back and watch it, it's a really smartly made thing. And like not even that as well, but the fact that like they basically reshot this film entirely because there was a whole subplot that it was they were kind of taking the mick out of the Weather Underground, which was this like counter-revolutionary socialist domestic terrorists in the 70s. That there was this entire plot that was like cut out of it. And then they made a second. They made like when the DVDs were sent out, the home release. They actually had. I think it was like The Legend Continues or something like that.
Because the outtakes, because
there was so many. There were so many
Adam
outtakes.
McKay makes his movies, and I could be wrong, but Adam McKay did work with Will Ferrell on Saturday Night Live. That's how they met each other. I could be wrong, but I think Adam McKay is the cowbell. I think he was one of the writers on that. But he was certainly responsible for a lot of Will Ferrell's best material on SNL, and that's how they met. But the Anchorman, it has stood the test of time. It is one of the most rewatchable comedies. Yeah. And I remember this is when I gave up on it, right? Empire Magazine gave it 2 stars.
Yeah.
I remember reading that going, are you what? It's a great comedy.
And they gave Attack of the Clone 4 stars.
Yeah, but you give Star Wars films 4 and 5 stars.
I'm just saying, like Attack of the Clones is like was a really bad film. They gave it 4 stars, and like it's kind of a thing. No, but yeah, like it's weird. Like it like Zoolander, I don't think got great reviews when it was first released.
Old School didn't either. Well, Old School didn't buy Empire either.
Yeah. So like I don't know. I mean, it is one of the things that you won't like when they were back over for the second Anchorman film. Like they were pretty. Adam McKay in particular was pretty open about the fact that it was like, I did not expect to make a sequel to this at all because it was DVD sales that really saved Anchorman.
Yeah.
I think it was similar with Zoolander, if I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zoolander wasn't a huge opener.
Yeah, it was
there
the
you go, guys. DVDs to the rescue. Just saying.
Not
Just
anymore,
saying.
though, in fairness.
Yeah. Well, on demand and stuff can kind of rejuvenate movies. So that's kind of where we've evolved to, I suppose.
I'll tell you what, can't rejuvenate a movie. Illegal downloads.
Yeah, in fairness. But like,
pay for your movies, kids.
But it's a shame though because like Anchorman 2 was not great. I really feel
I actually didn't bother watching it because it just got such bad reviews, and I was like, oh, I don't want it to taint the first one for me. Yeah. So I just decided to give it a miss.
As mental as the first one, up a notch. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like it's. I think I remember Bill Simmons talking to Will Ferrell about Anchorman. And saying the second one doesn't get the same level of adoration as the first one, and he reckons it's because there's different rights, I think, with the owners of it. So the first Anchorman used to be on in rotation on like the cable stations, I think, in the US. And then the second Anchorman didn't have the same cable station didn't have the rights to it, so not as many people come up and talk about the second one.
Sure.
But the second one more than has its moments. It's classic Adam McKay.
Yeah.
I think it's a very. When something is held in such high regard, it's obviously going to be difficult to make a sequel to it, especially when that sequel is, what was it, 10 years later, more,
something like that,
maybe 11 years later. So I get it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just find that like it just seems to be a kind of curse that the sequels of like really big cult comedies just aren't any good. Like you saw Super Troopers 2 a few weeks ago, and that was no good. I remember seeing Zoolander #2, and I was really, really, really excited to see a sequel to really, really good looking. Really excited to see the sequel to Zoolander, and it was just dreadful.
Yeah.
It just wasn't funny at all.
I think the issue with Zoolander was there was a lot of different people attached to direct. There was more than one person attached to direct when like Spencer was trying to get it made, and then ended up just doing it himself. And I don't think he had developed it as something that he was going to direct, and I think he just directed it to get it made. And because if you look at something like,
do you mean with the first one? Or
no,
the
second one.
one.
The second one.
Okay,
the second one. He developed the first one, which Alexander Skarsgård is one of the models at the start of it.
That's right, yeah.
Brian was like, no, it's not. And he looked him up and he was like, you're right.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
But I think that's
Earth to Doug? Yeah, I don't think so, because you were like...
But Secret Life of Walter Mitty was Ben Stiller's last movie that he directed before that, and it is incredible. I cannot recommend The Secret Life of Walter Mitty enough. Gorgeous soundtrack, gorgeous locations, just a lovely film. Patton Oswalt's a deadly little role in it. Kristen Wiig isn't in it enough because I heart Kristen Wiig. but it's a great film. So, like, Ben Stiller's an excellent director. Tropic Thunder as well, particularly with comedy.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
particularly
Tropic
with the
Thunder
nuance.
is a great one.
Like, he's
yeah.
an excellent one. Is it still the most expensive comedy of all time? Maybe not.
Yeah, it's up there. I'd say, yeah, I'd say it probably is. Yeah.
So, okay, what are we going to be talking about next week?
Mission Impossible Fallout. We're going to see it tonight.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You having a family outing?
Oh no, we're going.
So Brian doesn't have to sit in his
My
own.
family.
Brian,
Don't touch me.
not even Paul Rudd's allowed to touch Brian.
Yeah.
Can we screen grab that Brian's face and just?
But yeah, no, we're going to see it tonight. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm so excited. Like, the reviews have been amazing for this.
I've seen it.
I know. This is what I'm saying. Like, I gotta see, like, how, like, is it as good as everyone is saying?
I
it
just
is?
think the Mission Impossible movies have always just been really solid. Like they're
Yeah.
just good entertainment, good action,
That's
great
what
sequences.
I was gonna. Oh
It's
my
just-
god.
They're like I don't know. I think it's genuinely one of the most consistent franchises out
But see,
there. So
well,
I'm really excited for the next one.
Well, I mean, it's like we're talking to Chris McQuarrie about it for why he came back to make it. You know, Cruise, like Tom Cruise calls him McHugh. I was like, Tom Cruise called you McHugh, and he's like, yeah, I know. But he was delighted with the reviews because the reviews had just broken that
Yeah,
day.
Yeah.
that day.
And you could see he was like,
Relieved.
yeah, because one of the first things I said to him was like, movies of this scale. So comparatively, you could talk, say, James Bond. That franchise is of this scale. Sam Mendes made 2 back-to-back, but after the first, he was like, oh, Jesus, I don't know. You know, like why did you want to come back? But yeah, I mean, we'll get into it next week. I liked it. There's a lot to it to really like, but it's 2.5 hours long.
I just remembered. Remember, I was saying to you before we came on air. Yeah, there was a film I specifically watched so that we could do for the revisit this week. It was the first Mission Impossible. I actually watched the first.
Brian
Mission
De Palma.
Impossible. Yeah, Brian De Palma. I actually watched the first Mission Impossible on Saturday, and I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this for the revisit." And do you think I wrote it down to remind myself? And I didn't.
if only you had a post-it.
If only I had to post it.
Second one is ridiculous.
Oh, the second one is muck.
I'd say Dougray Scott as well. Had still his nightmares about the second because he was cast as Wolverine in X-Men and had to pull out.
But the first one, though, like, oh god, the first one is so, like, I love Brian De Palma anyway, but the first one is so good, and it's so, like, smart and weird and cool, and just I agree with you.
I
totally.
actually watched pretty much the first 4 in a row, so they all kind of blend in. But I just remember always being amused. I do remember the second one got a bit crazy with the face swapping thing.
Yeah.
But it was still good fun. Like I said, just consistently
The two
good.
bikes coming
Yeah.
towards each other and then they jump out and then like it's because John Woo.
Yeah.
It's just everything's slow and like different.
with doves everywhere.
Yeah, it was-
and
I think-
people jumping.
It was the first movie after Face Off, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So you had that Hollywood currency.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a lot to talk about then next week.
Yeah.
And then your Ant-Man interview is going to be up. It's going to be up early.
Yeah, they'll be up early, hopefully.
No
yeah.
embargo. So see the pained look on Brian's face when the nicest man in Hollywood holds him closely and tightly. Huge shout out to Charlotte Reed in production. She got a shout out at the top there as well.
She did, yeah.
Brian went off the rails. And
did.
to our producer Dave there. We need to get you a microphone. I think we need to get. I mean, they
So you
can't
can
see.
contribute.
Yeah, I think I'd like to hear you contribute. Or just every once in a while, just go hello.
It's just that dry, just sort of like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. That comedic ability, it can't be taught, producer Dave. You know. So okay, we'll check in with you next week. Thanks, guys.